welcome. Welcome to our webinar here, our free class that we're going to be doing on getting started with algo trading. So we're going to talk about that today. I'm coming to you from beautiful Miami right now on a nice little trip, enjoying some sunshine. So let me know if everything is working properly on my end here, if you guys are getting my feed properly, and if you're hearing me well. Maybe I should put on my headphones just so that you guys can maybe hear me a little better. It's a little echoey where I am. Can you guys hear me well, see me well? How's my sound? How's my audio? How's the video? Okay, not seeing you guys type out anything. You guys can type out into the chat. Okay, there we go. Todd, perfect, awesome. Thank you very much, Todd, for letting me know. That's great. Yeah, I'm traveling right now in Miami. So enjoying some of the sunshine, getting out of the cold in the north right now. So, you know, trying to make sure that everything's working properly. So I'm just setting up here to get everything ready for you guys. I'm going to get my screen ready here. All right, great. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and we'll get this kicked off. Share window. All right, great. So can everyone see my screen here? Getting started with algo trading. I can see it on my end here as well. Cool. All right, so let's get it kicked off. So today we're going to talk about how to get started with algorithmic trading. We're going to cover a couple of topics. So first of all, here's our agenda for tonight. First, we're going to get to know you guys a little bit. So I'm going to ask you a few questions to get to know who's on the call today, so I can make sure we tailor this all to you. Then we're going to go into an introduction, talk about a little bit about Lumi Wealth and kind of what we do. Then we're going to go into algorithmic trading and why, what it is and why we want to do this. Then we'll talk about the different types of trading algorithms. And then we'll go into a demo, which is usually what a lot of people find very valuable, right? After that, I'll tell you a little bit about our course, our larger course, where if you guys want to learn more about this topic, you guys can attend this and join our larger course, all right? I've also questions at the end, but if you guys have questions throughout, I'd much prefer if you guys were to let me know throughout the entire presentation, all right? So let's get it kicked off. Right. First of all, let's learn about a little bit about you guys. Right. So if you guys can type into the chat window, right? Todd has already done so as well. But for you guys, the chat window, it's this little chat bubble looking thing. You'll probably see on your browsers or your iPhone apps. But if you guys can let me know, what is your answer to these three questions? So if you guys can tell me a little bit about your occupation, what is it that you guys do for a living? All right, are you guys coders? Are you guys entrepreneurs? Do you guys work in the finance industry? Or do you do something else entirely? If you could also tell me, do you know how to program or code? Is this something you've ever done in your life, or is it something brand new? Our courses are very beginner friendly, but at the same time, if you do know some coding, it does allow you to move very quickly, and I've seen some people build some very, very cool stuff if they know how to code, although it is not required for what we're teaching here. And then if you could tell me about how much investment experience you have, right? Have you been investing for a long period of time? Is it something new to you? Let me know, right? And I'll start off. I'll let you guys know the answer to my question, to these questions myself, while you guys type it out. So my occupation, I'm the CEO of Lumi Wealth. I've been running this company for about 3 years, right? Really, my job is to make sure that you guys are happy, right? And that we're building some algorithms that are making some people money, right? That's really all that I care about at the end of the day, is making sure that we have happy customers and making sure that you guys are coming out of this with some very nice returns, right? Before that, we'll talk about before that. I'll tell you a little bit more about my history later on, but that's my occupation right now. Do you know how to program or code? Yes, I've been coding since I was around 11, 12 years old. It's been a very long time. I've managed teams of 20, 30, 40 people. I've been coding for quite some time now, everything from fintech companies to AI to all sorts of stuff. And then how much investment experience do you have? I personally started investing around 2006, just in time to get hit by the 2008 crisis. Definitely colored my investment experience and taught me a lot about risk management going through that whole experience, which hopefully I could share with you guys today as well. Right? But I'll read off what you guys wrote. So Todd says he's an analyst, very cool. Yes, he knows how to program, very cool, and knows some SQL and Visual Basic, perfect. So I'm assuming it's a financial analyst. And if you know some SQL and Visual Basic, that's going to make things a lot easier for you to learn all this stuff. That's amazing. And investment experience, 20 years. That's very, very good. Clearly, you have quite a bit of finance experience. It's awesome. I love talking to people like you, by the way, Todd, because I feel like you can really excel at our program. People like you with a ton of finance experience and some experience in coding, you can really like knock the roof out, doing some really cool stuff. So welcome, Todd. Patrick says he's a CTO at index.app. I'm tempted to click on that, although this looks pretty cool. ESG portfolios for free. This looks very cool. What you guys are up to. This is awesome. Sounds right up our alley, right? This sounds actually perfect. So 8 years coding. That's awesome. I'm assuming you're very good at it considering you're a CTO. And 8 years of investment experience. That's perfect. I feel like you have a chance to make some very, very profitable and very valuable algorithms. So welcome, Patrick. That's awesome. Cool. And I'll let the rest of you guys write in. Feel free to take your time to write this out. I'll keep reading out the chat as we go through this. But so far, you guys, welcome. This is awesome. I think you guys will do some very, very cool stuff. Actually, here's another one. So Sunny wrote in IT assistant. Very cool. 5 years programming SQL. Awesome. So you know a lot about databases and things like that. I think that could translate pretty well to data analytics and kind of what we do. And then new to trading. Okay, very cool. And as you can see, Sunny, by the way, when you join a lot of our classes, you actually get to spend a lot of time with people that have quite strong investment experience. So not only do you learn a lot from the classes themselves in terms of investing, but you get to spend a lot of time with other professionals that have been doing this for quite some time. We really pride ourselves on our community, so you really can get to know a lot of people. But that's awesome, Sunny. I think you do a great job in our courses as well, and I think we could even teach you a lot about investing, a lot about finance throughout the process too. Right? So welcome, guys. As I said, I'm going to keep reading this out as you guys come up, but I'm going to continue on to the next slide. Even though if you guys write this out, I'll still read it out as we go. Right? Okay, cool. So let's give you a quick introduction as to who I am, first of all. So my name is Robert. I'm the CEO of Lumi Wealth, as I mentioned. I'm also the main instructor for this class, for the algorithmic trading class, and for our crypto trading using algorithms classes. Right, so both of those. We have quite a few other ones, and we've hired quite a few instructors over the years, but I'm the one that still teaches these two courses. Also, a little bit of background about me. I started coding when I was very young, maybe 11, 12 years old. I started my first software company when I was about 15, made more money than my parents were making at that time, which is very cool. Needless to say, that got me very interested in the business side of things as well. So I went to go to business school and then did my master's in finance afterwards. Finance makes, in my opinion, a lot of sense when it comes to software. Honestly, using all the numbers you can get from finance, all the data you can get, there's a lot of opportunities bridging software and finance, as I'm sure you guys have an idea about as well, considering that you're here. Definitely noticed that. So I did my master's in finance. After that, I started another startup with some friends. We sold that startup. We got acquired basically for a good amount of money. Not that I'm legally allowed to talk about how much that is, but it was good enough for me to take some time off, travel the world a little bit, and basically ended up moving to New York City. Finance mecca, right? So moved there, worked on Wall Street for some amount of time, worked at a company called Greystone that basically does mortgage financing. We did mortgages of $10 million and up, so multifamily commercial mortgages. We basically built some artificial intelligence and some software that made it very easy to establish how much we should give to someone in terms of a loan, and basically help them with that entire loan process, which is pretty complex when you're doing, $20-30 million loan. So we built some software on that. I think to date, the software that we built has probably done around $50-60 billion in mortgages. So really nice to know that I built something like that. So it's really cool. My job there was really to hire the software team, to manage the software team, and make sure the product got done on time. After that, I went to go work at a company called Voyager. You guys may have heard of it more recently in the news. I was one of the early stage employees there, maybe employee number 4 or 5, something like that. I was the second software developer there. We basically built this thing from scratch. It's basically a crypto brokerage where you could trade crypto through an iPhone app. I was actually the first person to made the first version of the iPhone app, architected the entire backend experience, how money flowed around the system, how to deposit money, withdraw it, how to trade, all that kind of stuff. We architected all that, hired all the people there. Basically, that company ended up doing very, very well. We went from being a startup in a WeWork with 4 people all the way to being valued at $3 billion on one of the Canadian stock exchanges, actually. Was hoping that we'd get to the NASDAQ, but after that $3 billion valuation, things kind of took a nosedive in crypto, and the CEO made some bad loans to 3 Arrow Capital and kind of took down the company. They're now in bankruptcy. Sucks. It was a really good piece of technology. It's amazing how quickly it grew, but it's we shot to 3 billion and went right back down real quick, as it is kind of with the crypto industry. Anyways, I left that company about 3 years ago before all the nonsense happening with it falling back down. Now my job is at Lumi Wealth. We started this company about 3 years ago. Our job is to basically make sure that you guys have very good investment returns, and we're doing that using software. The concept behind this, the why behind our company, why does Lumi Wealth exist? Well, I've worked on Wall Street, as I said, for some point in time. I've seen the types of returns that these investors can get. These billionaire types, people with a lot of money, they get very, very good investment returns, things that the average person would not be able to get. A lot of that is because they have some very smart financial advisors, because they're able to see deals that other people cannot. And a few other reasons, all of which really kind of come down to they have good people working for them. Right? I always found that frustrating. I don't like the fact about rich people having even better investment returns than average people. They're rich enough as it is. If you're a billionaire, you don't need to have the crazy returns that everyone else doesn't have access to. So what we did here, or what we're working on here at Lumi Wealth, is that's our mission, is to basically bring those types of investment returns to everyday people. Right? The types of things that the billionaires of the world can get, we would like to bring that to everyday retail investors such as yourselves, right? I believe that the only way to get there really is to use software. I don't think it's possible without any kind of technical intervention. We just do not have the resources to be able to get those types of deals, that type of intelligence behind this. But if we're using artificial intelligence, we're using software, we can actually make that possible, right? So that's the whole mission behind Lumi Wealth, and essentially why we've created this whole thing. Right. Okay, so that's who I am. That's what Lumi Wealth is. We also have a YouTube channel. I'm going to share this with you guys inside of the chat here. Our YouTube channel has a lot of free stuff in here, so make sure you check out our YouTube channel. We have everything from interviews with very prominent investors. On there, you'll see me interviewing people that manage $600 million hedge funds. people that manage, $300–400 million real estate funds, people in DeFi, people doing all sorts of very cool stuff, and lots of ideas on how to make money. You also see in there testimonials with some of our past students. There's an entire section devoted to that. You'll also see a lot of these free classes on there as well. So you see a free class here for this class, but you also see the free ones for a lot of other classes as well. We're also planning on doing quite a bit of free content over the next little bit. So make sure that you subscribe to our channel so that you get access to that free content as soon as we're pushing it out. We're going to be taking some of our classes. We're going to take some of the more interesting bits of our classes we're going to put up on our YouTube, so you guys will kind of see what our classes look like, right? This is our free class, right? But our full classes, the ones where we do live with several people, you'll get a chance to see exactly what it's like being part of one of those classes. So we'll be releasing a lot of that free information over the next couple of weeks. So watch out for that, right? Other than our YouTube, we also have our Discord channel. I'm going to share this link with you guys as well. Our Discord is fantastic. It is essentially, if you guys know what Slack is, right? WhatsApp maybe is another good comparison. But essentially, we have what's called a Discord server for Lumi Wealth, where you guys can get to know a lot of other people that have the same types of enthusiasm about these types of things that you do, right? So we have a lot of people in there that are dedicated to blockchain or to algorithmic trading, specifically as well. This is kind of our main thing, crypto trading, and just generally, ways how to make money. We have a very large community of people there, very active. If you go into our Discord, you'll see lots and lots of people there. You can also speak to some of our past students, ask them about, what they think about the classes. You could ask people about, what investments they're getting into. It's a very great opportunity to get to know other people in our classes and other people that are building algorithms and other people that are, starting hedge funds and that sort of thing, right? Definitely a very good community to be a part of. So I'd strongly recommend you click on that Discord link, you join our community and take part in that discussion. Right? And then last but not least, I just want to reinforce again, please make sure you ask questions throughout the presentation. Don't leave it until the end. It's a lot more interesting when we have a back and forth dialogue throughout this entire thing. So make sure that you, if you have a question, if there's something that you're not sure about, or if there's something you want to have explained more, please let me know and we can have that discussion throughout. It's live. We're live for a reason. There's a reason why we don't just record this and play it for you. This is live, so if you do ask those questions, we can get that answered for you. All right. Okay, cool. All right, so moving on, let's talk about algorithmic trading in general. All right, so what is algorithmic trading and why should you care? Why does this matter? All right, so first and foremost, algo trading, algorithmic trading or algo trading is using software to analyze data and potentially to automatically make trades. There are some companies that do just the first part. They'll use a lot of data analytics. Most hedge funds do this actually. I get asked this question all the time. If algorithmic trading is so profitable, why doesn't everyone do it? The answer is everyone is doing it except for you. That's the truth. If you go to a lot of hedge funds, you go to a lot of these large shops of prop traders, most of them are using software and data analytics and tools that you do not have access to. For example, if you actually were to analyze all the trades on the NASDAQ, something like 95% of them are made by robots, right? So just to give you an idea of the scale of this, right? The retail investors, as usual, are the ones that usually get left behind, right? Which is exactly what we're trying to fix here, right? So we're using software to analyze data and potentially make these trades automatically, right? That means we could be analyzing, and a lot of people think we're only looking at technical analysis, and if RSI crosses some number or something like that, that's basically what we do. We can do that. It's very possible to build algorithms like that. Some of them work, some of them don't, but we could do a lot more sophisticated things than that, right? We could do things like analyzing the news. Imagine something that Donald Trump or Elon Musk or you name whoever has 100 million followers kind of thing. When they make a tweet or when they make a post or when a news story breaks, at a large news outlet, that tends to move markets, right? A great example of that is Elon Musk tweeting about Dogecoin. He tweeted about that. Dogecoin shot, 10,000% up. Nonsense coin, but still made you a ton of money, right? So, that's one thing that algorithms can do is we can analyze news and we can be on top of that very quickly. We can do things like analyzing companies, figuring out their financial statements and seeing, what correlations we have to their financial statements versus their actual stock performance. We can do all sorts of different types of algorithms, much more than just the price action type algorithms, right? So a lot of things that we could do with this. We can provide trading alerts and we can also execute trades, right? So again, we could let you know this is a time to trade, or we could just actually place that trade for you. Most people that go through our classes, I'll tell you, will go directly into the automatically placing trades, automatically doing this for you. There's a lot of benefits to that, but you don't necessarily have to do that if you prefer to just get the signals, right? Again, there's a lot of really, really successful people or in companies that do this sort of thing, right? So to name a few, let's talk about a couple of these companies that are making money doing this stuff. So probably one of the prime examples of this is a company called Renaissance Technologies, right? They've been around, I believe, since the 80s or 90s, right? They basically started probably the first hedge fund or one of the first hedge funds to use these types of techniques, using the algorithmic trading techniques, right? They started off somewhere in the 80s, as I said, when computers were, not that good, to say the least, using DOS and very, very basic technologies. They were able to figure out, how do I download this data and automatically place trades? So it was quite a Herculean act to do back in the day. It's quite a bit simpler now. We have a lot of tools for you to make that a lot easier now. But when they did that back then, at first it took them, maybe 6 months, a year, almost 2 years for them to figure it all out, how to actually place the trades, how to do that sort of stuff. It's, again, very complicated to do back then. But within about 2 years, these guys cracked the code. They figured out how to make a ton of money doing this stuff. They're posting returns that no one else on Wall Street was able to get. And they're really, really knocking things out of the park. Fast forward a couple of years. Last time I checked, they manage about $110 billion in assets, although that's probably a lot higher by now. This is about 2 years ago. I think they've more than doubled their capital since then. I know, for example, last year, and keep in mind, this is with $110 billion, they're able to get something like 120 or 130% returns. Insane. They made over $100 billion last year, right? These guys, over their lifespan, have made about 39% returns on average, right? Sorry, here, I'm reading from Patrick. Great related book about the co-founder of Rentech, the man who solved the market. Yeah, exactly. Great that you read that book, Patrick. So I was about to bring that up. I actually have a link to that book right below. Yeah, it's great. Awesome. I'm glad you read it. It's a fantastic book. And I'll let everyone else know what, actually, no, let's bring that up now. So there's a really great book. I'm going to take this here. This is a book about the founder of Renaissance Technologies. Name is Jim Simmons. This is a guy, used to be like a math professor at MIT or something like that. Again, started Renaissance Technologies back in the day. They started off trying to figure this stuff out. They cracked the code, started making quite a bit of money. Fascinating book about this whole thing. By the end of the book, these guys are making so much money. Like you might as well have like a printing press in your house. I think if they had a literal money making machine in their house, it wouldn't be fast enough. They probably made more money doing this than having like an actual printing press in their house. It's crazy. These guys were literally making so much money that they were like forgetting about houses that they bought. They're buying mansions in all sorts of random places. They got in trouble with the law in a few situations where they built houses where they weren't supposed to. Fascinating book. They really, really made quite a bit of money, and it's really interesting to see their whole story of how they went from the beginning, humble beginnings, all the way until Jim Simmons, right now considered one of the richest people on earth. Last time I checked, I think he was worth 30 to 40 billion dollars. Although We don't know if he's worth even more than that, because maybe he hid his money pretty well. But definitely one of the richest people on earth, the founder of Renaissance Technologies. So these guys reportedly have made about 39% returns on average. Okay. And for those of you that were around during this crypto bubble and saw these ridiculous returns, that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you take into account the long-term history of the stock market and the long-term history of any assets for that matter, 39% is very, very, very high in one of the best investors on the planet, right? They are very easily considered one of the best investors on the planet. So to give you an idea of what that means, right? So 39% is on average, right? Which means that, you know, they have some years where they did very, very well, right? Last year, for example, $100 billion, and they're able to manage, you know, 120% return on that. That's crazy. They made $100 billion last year, approximately. That's not a small feat to do with that much money, right? But it also means that they did very well in downturns too, right? So for example, this year when everything is down, I'm willing to bet that they're still doing quite well. I don't have their statistics, but if you looked it up, I'm sure Renaissance is still doing quite well throughout the downturn. In 2008, they didn't lose money in 2008 either. You know what I mean? So it's a 39% return on average. They're very uncorrelated with the stock market. They're just consistently making returns. And I think throughout their entire history of the company, I think they've only lost money like one quarter out of 30 years. It's fascinating how well they've been able to do, right? And for those of you that don't have a background in mathematics or in finance, let's talk about what that really means, a 39% return on average. So the stock market on average makes about 10% a year, okay? Which means that if you put $1,000, and the stock market is, you know, one of the best investment choices, I think, for average everyday person, right? It's a very good investment vehicle. 10% a year, if you put in $1,000 and you waited 30 years until your retirement, didn't really do anything, you'd end up with about $17,500. That's a pretty good return, you know, for not doing anything. Put your money into S&P and walk away, right? That's a very nice return. You know, it's about 17 and a half times your money, right, after 30 years. Now, if instead of that, you had invested in Renaissance Technologies, which is making 39% a year, you took that same $1,000 and you invested for 30 years, you would not have 17,000. You would end up with $19.5 million, literally 1,000 times more money than what the stock market would have made, right? Why is that the case, you may ask, if you don't have that finance background? It's because of compound interest, right? So it's not that you're making 4 times more money in the long run. You're making 4 times more money every single year, and it snowballs, right? So you start off with $1,000. Instead of going to 1,100, you go to 1,400, right? And now you take that same $1,400 and then you make 40% on that, and then 40% on that, and then 40% on that. And very quickly, this thing snowballs into a very ridiculous amount of money. To give you an idea, one of the best investors in the world, Warren Buffett, only made about 20% a year. So we're doing, Renaissance is doing about double the returns of Warren Buffett, right? Just to give you an idea of how profitable some of these algorithmic trading strategies can be, right? But that's just one company, right? Renaissance is definitely one of the better ones, right? They've been around for a long time. They manage a lot of money. The truth is actually, as you get bigger, right, as you start managing more and more money, it gets harder to make better returns, right? So for you guys managing less money, it's actually possible for you to make better returns than that, right? Just because you don't have to fight against the tide, right? If you have $100 billion, you know, every step that you're taking, people are watching you, you move markets. You can't just make one small trade. One small trade for your company is, you know, $100 million, right? Like that's going to move the entire market. You know, you can move the entire S&P 500 by making one trade, you know? So it gets really hard to make money when you get bigger, right? So potentially, you know, with your algorithms, maybe we could do even better than this, right? But there are a lot of other companies that are doing very, very well using these techniques as well, right? So 2 Sigma is one of them. I've actually met some people from 2 Sigma, very, very smart people. These guys, again, use software to place all their trades. They do not have people placing trades. They do this all automatically. They have a venture capital arm, but that's a separate thing. I'm talking about their main hedge fund. Last I heard, these guys also are beating the market by quite a large margin. They're managing about $60 billion worth of assets and growing very quickly. All right, so Two Sigma is another one. Citadel is another one. These guys are huge. Ken Griffin, again, one of the richest people on earth. Notice a pattern here, right? A lot of these people that are running these companies are some of the richest on the planet. Ken Griffin, last I heard, he bought one of the most expensive pieces of real estate that was ever sold in the United States. He bought an apartment in Manhattan for, I think, $250 million. At the time, that was the biggest real estate sale ever in all of the United States, right? Since then, I think he's moved to, I want to say he moved to Florida. I'm in Miami right now, so I think he might even be here right now. It'd be kind of cool to meet him. Anyways, Citadel, the hedge fund, right? And Citadel is a very big company. They're actually the ones, if you didn't know this, they're the ones that are on the other side of the trades when you're doing Robinhood trading. So if you're going into Robinhood and you're placing trades, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Robinhood pays for order flow, meaning that when you place a trade through Robinhood, you're actually trading with Citadel, right? You're not trading with other people, you're trading with Citadel. And they're making a profit every single trade that you're making, right? Give you an idea of what, how big this industry is, right? These guys are huge. Their hedge funds making a ton of money. Their payment for order flow is making a ton of money. They're absolutely massive. Check them out. They do a lot of stuff around financial technology and building algorithms, right? Another really big company is Bridgewater. I believe this is still, either was or is still, the biggest hedge fund in the world, right? Run by Ray Dalio. Last I heard, they're managing 138 billion in assets. I think that's a lot more than that now. I think they might be one of the best performing hedge funds of 2022. These guys actually made a lot of money this year. The whole stock market's down. They are not down. They actually made a ton of money this year. Check it out. It's all public, right? They have to disclose the stuff. But Ray Dalio, really, really smart guy. He has a great book written about him as well. Again, also one of the richest people on earth, right? And his company, Bridgewater, what they do is they don't actually place trades automatically. They do really more the first part. They use basically data to inform their trades. And I'll show you right after this. He actually placed a tweet that I thought was very interesting, and I'm gonna show you guys that. He tweeted about this maybe 2 months ago or 3 months ago, of how big of a fan he is of coding and of algorithms. And we'll talk about that in a second. But Bridgewater, again, one of the biggest hedge funds on earth, if not the biggest, also using algorithms and data science to place their trades. Right? There's a lot of these companies, right? Another one, D.E. Shaw, right? Very, very big hedge fund. You guys may have heard of this. There's a really interesting fact about it, and let me know if you guys know who used to work here. There's a very famous person that used to work at this company, D.E. Shaw, back in the day. I'll give you guys a second to respond to that. But D.E. Shaw is a hedge fund based in New York City. They essentially do the same thing, right? Use algorithms to trade, and they use a lot of data to figure out, what assets they should buy, what stocks, options, all that kind of thing. And they've been very, very, very successful doing this sort of thing. All right. I'll give you guys a second longer to tell me who used to work here. You guys can probably Google it, so I'm not going to give you too much time. Yeah, so the person who used to work at D.E. Shaw was actually the richest person on earth at one point in time, and that's Jeff Bezos, right? The owner of Amazon. The actual link that I sent 2 seconds before this. But yeah, so the story goes, Jeff Bezos, when he first started to go work on Wall Street, he went to go work at this company, D.E. Shaw, and that's really where he got a lot of his chops. He learned a lot about software there. He learned a lot about data there, and learned, kind of how to hone his skills around investing. So when he worked at D.E. Shaw, he basically had access to a lot of data. They did a lot of data analytics, and he saw that something called the internet was growing at this breakneck pace of a couple 1,000% a year. And he's like, wow, this internet thing, I think it's going to do well, right? So he decided to create his own company in the internet, right? Because of the data they got from D.E. Shaw. And, the rest is history. He built out Amazon and he became one of the richest people on earth, right? I think today he actually donated like $150 million to some charity, right? So absolutely ridiculous amounts of money, as I'm sure you know. But kind of the point is here, when you're doing algorithmic trading, when you're building data science pipelines around investing, when you're working with data around investing and using software to automate this, you're in very, very good company. Take a look at the Forbes 100, the 100 richest people on earth, right? And a very large majority of them use algorithmic trading or use data science heavily in their investment decisions. And if you're going to be doing this, if you want to be a part of this, you're in very, very good company, because some of the richest people on earth are doing this sort of thing. Right. Cool, awesome. All right, so that's my little introduction to algo trading. Here's that tweet, as I promised. This is Ray Dalio. You can go on his Twitter account and you can actually find out. Ray Dalio, again, he's the used to be CEO. He's recently stepped down as CEO of Bridgewater. He put someone else in charge because he's basically retiring. But one of the best investors ever, right? And he tweeted this out. He says he's in the phase of his life where he wants to teach other people what he did and kind of help other people grow, which is very nice. And he printed this out, or he put this up on Twitter. So he said recently, convert your principles into algorithms and have the computer make decisions alongside you, right? And he continues, if you can do that, you will take the power of your decision-making to a whole other level. Hashtag principle of the day, right? He says, in many cases, you will be able to test how that principle would have worked in the past, or in various situations that will help you refine it. And in all cases, it will help you compound your understanding to a degree that would otherwise be impossible. So he's basically talking about back testing, and something that we teach in our classes, using past data to check and see how things would have transpired if you had known that information back in the day, and what kind of signals would you have gotten in your algorithms, right? So he's talking a lot about back testing there. He says it will also take emotion out of the equation. Very true. Something that we teach with our algorithms too. So it will take emotion out of the equation. Algorithms work just like words describing what you would like to have done, but they are written in a language that the computer can understand. If you don't know how to speak this language, you should either learn it or have someone close to you who can translate it for you. Your children and their peers must learn to speak the language, because it will soon be as important or more important than any other language. Something I very much agree with him about as well. By developing a partnership with your computer, alter ego, in which you teach each other and each do what you do best, you will be much more powerful than if you went about your decision-making alone. The computer will also be your link to great collective decision-making, which is far more powerful than individual decision-making, and will almost certainly advance the evolution of our species. Big words, some very big words there from one of the best investors of our lifetimes, right? And that's exactly the reasons why we're very strong advocates of algorithmic trading as well. It takes the emotion out of it. It allows you to look into the past and see how you would have performed in the past. It allows you to essentially automate a lot of these things and be able to really become almost like an investing superhuman, because it's you with this computer working together rather than just you yourself trying to figure this out. So you become essentially an investing superstar, being able to do this sort of stuff. All right. So big words from one of the top investors in the world. All right. By the way, strongly suggest you guys follow him on Twitter. He has some really good stuff on there. He also has a very good book about a lot of his investing principles. And after you read that book, I'm sure you can see how using software can very much relate to the types of principles that he talks about in his book. Fascinating book, great read. Cool. So let's talk about some types of trading algorithms, right? And I want to talk about this because most people that come to algo trading, for better or for worse, most of them have kind of been taught the idea that all you need to do is get a chart out and look at how nice this chart looks. And if this line crosses this way, then you're going to be a gajillionaire, right? You know, sometimes that can work, right? There are algorithms that I've seen that could be quite powerful doing that sort of thing, especially in the crypto space, right? For some reason, crypto works quite well when it comes to technical analysis. And I've seen some pretty impressive results there. Some stocks also do pretty well doing that, but it's not the only thing, right? There's quite a few ways to make money using algorithms, right? And actually, in a sense, almost anything that a human can do, other than some really complicated stuff, almost anything that a human can do, really these days a robot can do as well, right? So some examples is like day trading, right? So day trading, you know, you might want to use technical analysis, right? You might want to look at RSI or MACD or one of those types of indicators. You know, maybe you'll have a confirmation, you'll have two indicators confirming each other or three. You might be looking for trend following or divergence, convergence. You might be looking at those types of things. And that's one way to make money using algorithms, right? You could also build machine learning or AI algorithms around that as well, where you would essentially be placing trades throughout the day. We have an artificial intelligence that is telling you what is the right trade to make, right? And this can be something much more advanced than basically just looking at technicals and saying RSI is here and the MACD is here. Your machine learning algorithm can be quite a bit more sophisticated than that and tell you a lot of details about when to trade and how to make it. It's something that we cover in detail in our class as well. We have an entire class just on machine learning too, right? So that's day trading. That's one way to make money. In truth, day trading can be a little challenging to make cash just because you're fighting against the tide. You're fighting against a lot of trading fees, right? So there are other ways that you can make money as well, right? So event-based algorithms can be quite profitable. I've seen, I could tell you anecdotally, one of our past students recently told me about how he's making something like 400 or 500% a year doing event-based algorithms. And basically what he does is he looks at influencers. So people like Jonah Lupton or, you know, Donald Trump or Elon Musk, you know, influencers, people that have a lot of people following them, right? And essentially, whenever they tweet or when news comes out or something that, you know, is a brand new event comes out, his algorithm is the first one to read it. And he takes that information and basically trades off of it, right? So if Elon Musk says, I like Dogecoin, I think that's great, he'll go out and buy Dogecoin, hold on to it for a short period of time, maybe a couple hours, depending on how the technicals work out, and then sell it and make a nice profit, right? Some of these events you can make, you know, 5%, 10% per trade. It can be quite profitable. And as I said, you know, one of our students, last I heard, he was making something like 400% a year doing this. Very impressive, right? Event-based algorithms, right? There's also macro strategies they could do. This is kind of like what Ray Dalio does, right? He's a macro hedge fund. And you could be basically looking at not only in the United States, but also around the world, other countries. You can be looking at, you know, what types of economic forces are driving the market, right? So for example, when inflation is heading up, and if we could predict inflation going up, then we can say that that is not good for the stock market. Inflation tends to be very bad for stocks, right? We could say that rising interest rates don't tend to be very good for stocks, right? I mean, that's exactly what we saw in the past year, right? We can also say that lower interest rates tend to be better for stocks, right? We can say that, you know, there's a bunch of different macroeconomic forces that we can look at, and we can say with a certain amount of clarity that we think this is where the future is going, and this is where we think the stock market is going to go based off of that. Again, this is not just in the United States, right? We saw what happened in the US over the past year, right? But this is also happening in other countries around the world too, right? The UK, Canada, Australia, China, you know, Taiwan, all these countries are having their own situations happen, and you have in each one of them their own opportunities, right? Not only will it tell you is the stock market going to go up and down, but it's going to tell you what industries and tell you about, you know, degrees of magnitude and all sorts of other very interesting things, right? So macro trading is another very interesting thing to do using using algorithms, right? Again, this is, you know, the Ray Dalio types, right? We could also do fundamental analysis, right? So you could be analyzing all these companies, and as their earnings come out, right? How did Apple do on their earnings, right? Did they beat expectations? How are their margins doing? You could have an algorithm that automatically reads all of the latest reports that come out, and you could be the first one to trade off of it, right? A really good report came out for, you know, Ford, for example, let's say. You could be the first one to buy and make a ton of money off that, right? Or, you know, vice versa, right? If something came out bad about it, you could be the first one against it, right? Or you could build stock screeners that are basically looking at this, you know, invest in companies that have low amounts of debt when we have interest rates going up. That's a very smart thing to do, right? You probably don't want to be investing in companies that are drowning in debt when interest rates have just tripled, right? So there's a lot of very interesting things that you can do there using algorithms, right? And one more I'm going to talk about, which is arbitrage, but this is not the only one. You know, I hope you're getting the sense of this, is that like really almost anything that a human can do, an algorithm can do as well, right? With the exception of some of like really deep thinking stuff, like it's still very difficult for an algorithm to do what Warren Buffett is doing. It's still hard to do right now. You know, I'm willing to bet that within the next 5 to 10 years, we'll be able to out Warren the Buffett, to say. I think, you know, we'll be able to build algorithms that are even smarter than some of the best investors there. AI is growing incredibly fast. It's amazing what is possible these days. And I think we'll actually be able to even do better than him at that kind of deep thinking. But that's, you know, that's in the future. That's where we're heading to, right? But today, you know, another thing they could do is they could do arbitrage, right? A lot of people that come to us, there's quite a few people that, you know, want to do arbitrage. It's not an easy one to do, I'll tell you that much. It's basically free money. Or you can think about arbitrage almost like what if there were $100 bills just lying all over the place and you just had to pick them up? Basically, what we're doing with arbitrage is we're taking advantage of price differences. So one really simple example would be if you're looking at the price of Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin back in the day used to be very different on different exchanges, right? It's come more closely now, but even in periods of stress, you'll still see pretty big changes happen. But back in the day, you used to go to Coinbase and buy Bitcoin for, let's say, you know, $1,000, right? And then you would go to Kraken and you'd be able to sell it for $2,100. Essentially, you're making $100 round trip, right? You're buying it at Coinbase for 2,000 and you're selling it to Kraken for 2,100, right? You just made $100, right? And then all you gotta do is just keep circling that around, right? Buy at Coinbase, sell at KuCoin or Kraken, right? Buy at Coinbase, sell at Kraken. Buy at Coinbase, sell at Kraken. You're making $100 every single time, and as you can imagine, that can add up to quite a bit of money over time, especially if you have an algorithm doing this. You can do that very, very quickly, and you can make quite a bit of money very, very fast, right? The advantage of arbitrage is also it's essentially risk-free if you're doing it properly, because you could simultaneously be buying it at KuCoin and simultaneously selling it at Kraken at the exact same time. So you pocket the profit immediately, right? So there's very, very little risk involved in doing arbitrage. It's going to be very profitable. If you look at some of the most successful hedge funds in the world, they're taking advantage of this stuff, right? Like the Citadels of the world, they're making a ton of money doing arbitrage. That also makes it a little bit more difficult. There's more competition in this, but if you can find some areas with arbitrage or its close cousin, statistical arbitrage, you can make a lot of money doing this stuff, right? So that's a couple of trading algorithms that you can make. This is by no means the exhaustive list. There's quite a bit more stuff that you can do, but these are some of the more, some of the bigger topics or some of the bigger types of algorithms that you can make, right? So hopefully I've given you a good sense of what is out there and what is possible, right? Cool. Okay, so that being said, let's take a look at a couple of algorithms in action, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play for you our demo or a couple of demos of our trading system. And please let me know. I'm going to take off my headphones here. Please let me know if you can hear this. I'm going to play this video for you. I cannot show you trades right now because, and hold on, let me make sure you guys are, okay, you're still doing that. Okay, so let me know if you guys can hear this volume because I don't have my regular stuff with me. I'm traveling right now, as I said, in Miami. But hopefully this works out well for you, and let me know if this is good. All right, so I'm going to play you a demo of our algorithms. Again, I can't play you, I can't do this stuff for you live right now because markets are closed, but this is when the markets were open. It was a couple months ago, so keep in mind that, you know, some of this stuff is a little dated. We actually have much better technology than this now. But here's an example of some of our algorithms in action, right? So again, please let me know whether you can hear this volume. Right, so I'm going to play this. Cool. Okay. So let's get into a demo, right? So this is, I'm going to show you a couple of different trading strategies that we show you, first of all, in the courses, and that you can employ yourself. It's pretty easy for you to get these up and running. I've had people that have never coded a day in their lives and have these strategies running within just a few weeks. Yeah, so, you know, even if you don't know how to code, don't feel like you have to shy away from this, whatever. I'm going to be showing you a bunch of code here, but really it's not that difficult to learn. We've been able to teach a lot of people that have never coded before in their lives. All right. Okay. So here, let's show you a demo of some of our different trading strategies. Yeah. So there's a couple I want to show you today, and we have some new ones, like I was saying. Okay. So I want to show you, first of all, our fast trading strategy, just because a lot of people, whenever they think algo trading, they want to be able to trade really quickly, get in and out of things very fast, and analyze a lot of things. So what I'm doing here is I'm running this fast trading strategy. You see here, we go into our broker. It was nothing, and now it bought a whole bunch of stuff automatically by itself. Okay. And let me describe to you essentially what this strategy is doing. Okay. Here is the code. The code is fairly straightforward. It's not that long, right? So it looks like, you know, 160 lines of code, but a lot of it is boilerplate stuff, and a lot of it is like, you know, kind of just tracking things and whatnot. It's very easy for you guys to get something like this up and running. Essentially what it does is it looks at these symbols here, right? SPY, gold, TLT, Microsoft, Tesla, etc. Right? We're looking at all those symbols and basically saying which one has done the best over the past 1 minute, right? And whichever one did the best, you know, has had a momentum, the best momentum, it keeps the top four, okay? And it'll keep swapping them up. So if we watch this here, we see the top four we have right now is TLT, XBXS, XBXL, and MCHI. Those are the best over 1 minute. You see that just swapped. We just bought some gold. So it sold TLT and bought gold. Okay? And if we leave this running, you'll see basically it'll do this all day long, right? You don't have to be in front of your computer. You could have this thing running in the cloud. You can have this thing running off your computer. It'll just keep trading for you all day long, right? Now, this is a strategy that, you know, follows momentum, but you could just as easily do a lot of other things with this, right? You could use technical analysis for this, right? I know a lot of people like looking at charts and support resistance, that sort of thing. You could use that, right? You could use things like RSI or pivot points or VWAP, right? You could use all those types of things to influence which stocks you want to own and have like a, you know, we have our top 10 stocks, and based on our criteria, we keep the top four, and you can trade throughout the day doing that sort of thing. So this is very flexible. There's a lot of different things that you can do with this. And this is just a demo to kind of show you, you know, this fast trading, how it moves in and out. If we give it another minute, it should actually flip things around. We'll give it, yeah, so it executes once every minute. We give it a little bit more time. It'll swap things out. Oh, there you go. Okay, I just did that. So it sold the gold. Remember, you guys saw the gold. It sold that, and it sold our MCHI. So we sold two of those things, and it bought SPY and it bought Microsoft, right? And that's because those have been the ones that are doing the best over the past minute, and just kind of hold on to them, right? So it's just a simple momentum strategy. But like I said, there's a lot of other things that you could convert this into. Use any kind of technical analysis you want or any kind of criteria that you want to do this sort of trading, right? This is something that'll be like throughout the day, intraday, quickly getting in and out of things, all right? All right, okay, so that's a fast trading strategy. Let's show you our technical analysis strategy, right?
because this one is, we could basically take what we did in the last one, okay, and we can do the same thing, or we could use essentially, what we did in the last one. We could apply this sort of stuff for technical analysis type of stuff, right? So what this one does is it's sorry, there's a question here on chat. I want to do trading. Day trading will help me with that. Yes, absolutely, will help you with day trading. Yeah. So the last strategy that I just showed you, the fast trading, is very well suited for day trading, right? So what you would do is you would take something like that and combine it with maybe a technical. It depends on how you trade, right? If you trade, support resistance, if you trade using VWAP, if you trade using some sort of technical analysis, RSIs or Bollinger Bands or whatever, we could implement all that kind of stuff, right? So here is a technical analysis strategy. This one trades a little slower, but you can mix the two together, right? You can make it so that the last one that we had takes the top 4 stocks, right? This one, what it does is it trades based off of RSI, right? So it looks at the RSI of SPY, right? And if RSI falls below 33, okay, so it's looking at the RSI for SPY, and it has 2 stocks that it trades, okay? It has SPY and TLT, okay? It has the 2 of them, okay? And they're normally 60-40, which is kind of like what investment advisors recommend, 60% stocks, 40% bonds, right? But when the RSI gets too high on SPY, which means kind of like it's overbought, right, is what we call it with RSI terms. When it's overbought, then we say, okay, let's get out of SPY and only buy TLT. So we sell our SPY, go 100% to TLT. And then the opposite situation, when SPY falls too much and RSI is low, then we will sell all of our TLT and only buy SPY, right? So it's changing weightings in our stocks based off of this criteria of a technical analysis, right? Technical indicator, okay? So if we see it trading right now, you'll see it bought 60-40 SPY, so 60% of money of 50,000 is put into SPY automatically, right? And TLT, the other 20,000, right? The other 40%. Okay. If this is a time when SPY was too high, it would automatically sell SPY and get into TLT. Or if opposite happened, if SPY fell a lot, it will do the flip as well. You could do this much faster. You could do this with many stocks throughout the day. And you can use a lot of other types of technical analysis as well. So we use this library, right? You could use Bollinger Bands, right? You could use, some of these things I don't even know what they are. Average true range, you could use that. Bollinger Bands, you could use moving averages, crossing, use MACD, all sorts of different things that you could use to trade with. RSI, stochastic RSI, right? Lots and lots of different things that you could use to trade. And you can trade throughout the day, buying and selling things automatically based on your criteria, right? You don't have to be at your computer. You don't have to be paying attention to it. You can set up stop losses automatically, all that kind of stuff you can get through the bot, right? Okay, so that's our technical analysis strategy, right? Okay, I'm going to show you some cool new ones that we just made, right? So this is one that I think will probably resonate with a lot of you guys. This is a really fun one that we actually just created, and I'm actually in the process of testing exactly how well it does, but it is definitely a very interesting strategy. This is not the right, okay, we're going to get out of this. So this is a strategy that we call Reddit sentiment, okay? You get access to this strategy. If you join our classes, you get access to this strategy within our classes, right? We'll give this to you. You can use this, you can modify this. It's part of our library of different algorithms, right? Okay, so let me run this one here, okay? And let me explain to you kind of what it's doing, all right? So this strategy, what it does is it goes to, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Wall Street Bets. I feel like this has blown up in popularity recently. And of course, you guys, if you guys follow this sort of thing or know about this sort of thing, it's been influencing a lot of stocks lately, right? The increases in GameStop was because of this channel on Reddit. Basically, I think it's now, when I last checked, there's 1 million, but someone told me there's 4 million people on here. Everyone's discussing stocks, talking about, what to buy, what to sell, that sort of thing. And it actually has quite a bit of predictive power where, GameStop shot up a lot because of what happened on Wall Street Bets. There's some people that got going and basically went through the roof, right? GameStop, AMC was another one that's like a big, we call it meme stock or Wall Street bet stock. And there's a few other ones that are happening more recently, like Wish, and a few other ones that maybe you guys have missed out on. But if you had this bot that we've built out here, you won't have to, right? So what it does is it automatically downloads the hot topics within Wall Street Bets, right? Downloads, you could specify exactly how much you want to download, right? And then it looks over all of those topics, reads all the comments, and uses some artificial intelligence, uses a bit of machine learning type stuff to figure out which stocks have the best sentiment, okay? And sentiment being whether people are saying they like them or not, right? I hate Wish, or I love Wish, or I think Wish is going to the moon, right? It's going to read all those comments and tell you which stocks are, first of all, talked about the most, and which ones have the best sentiment. So we see here, Apple, for example, does not have a very good sentiment. It's widely talked about. People don't seem to like it on Wall Street Bets right now. Ones that they do like is this one here, 0.43 Wish. This one's been a hot topic for a while. If you look at the stock charts, by the way, it's gone up a lot. It's doubled over the past week or two. All right, so that sentiment is high up there. We have GOEV. I don't even know what that is. This is talking about, people are talking about this on Wall Street Bets. But in either case, what it did is automatically read all that kind of stuff and then bought the top ones for you, right? So let's take a look here. Boom. These are all the top stocks on Wall Street Bets, right? It will automatically hold on to these and read actually these comments throughout the day and throughout the week. So you could have this running in a server, running on a computer. It will automatically buy, in this case, the top 4 stocks that are talked about on Wall Street Bets. Not only the ones that are most popular, but also the ones that people have the best sentiment for, that people say they really like. Look at that. We just bought them, and all of a sudden our money is already starting to go up. It's kind of fun to watch. Yeah, so this is a very interesting strategy. We're going to be actually testing this over the next little bit, and I'm thinking about putting some of our own funds money into this as well. All right, so look at that. We literally just bought it, and look at what happened to our stock price. Like it's literally within a minute, it's shooting up like crazy. All right, and what this strategy will do is it'll just keep reading this all day long, right? And see, has it changed, right? If sentiments have changed, it will get rid of it, right? Or if sentiments have gone up for one, it will buy it, right? So automatically be doing this stuff all day long. All right, definitely really cool. It's amazing how fast this is going up. So we have a question here. I have no coding experience. Will this program sync it to my trading platform and auto execute the trades? It depends what trading platform you use, right? So if you have no coding experience, I wouldn't be too worried about it. We have a lot of people in our classes with no coding experience, and they've all been able to get bots up and running. So I wouldn't be too surprised about that. I wouldn't be too worried about that, right? Whether it links to your trading platform, it depends on what trading platform you're using, right? We have 2 brokers that we work with right off the bat. Yeah, so we use Alpaca, we use Interactive Brokers, and we're going to be adding in TradeStation soon. That's the next one that we're adding in. So if you use TradeStation, we'll probably have this built in within the next like 2 months, right? So we are definitely going to be adding that in soon, right? For Thinkorswim, they don't have API access. They have API access to something called TD Ameritrade. They don't give you access to the Thinkorswim platform. It's kind of a little weird there. So we recommend actually, if you want to do like algo trading, TD Ameritrade is really not the best, right? They don't allow you to do paper trading, that sort of thing. And to be honest with you, it's really easy to switch brokers, right? Like to open up an account with Alpaca, like honestly, I think you could do this within 5 minutes, right? It's really easy to do that. So we work with them. We work with Interactive Brokers. We're going to be adding in TradeStation very soon, and then we're going to keep adding in more and more as we go. So you definitely have a lot of options there. This is amazing. Look at this. We literally just bought this, and we're already making like a bunch of money. The stock chart just shooting straight up. Yeah, changing brokers. Yeah, I agree with you. Right, changing brokers is not very difficult. It's really easy to do that. I really like TradeStation. They have great APIs, so we're going to be working with them soon. They also have crypto. They have futures. They have a lot of other stuff. So TradeStation's a really good one that we're going to be adding in. It's amazing, guys. I got to start running my own money in this strategy. We literally just built this like 2 days ago, so we're still testing it out. But it's amazing. Look at this. Literally, in the course of this conversation, we've already made what, like $300 or something like that. It's just in the course of our talking right now. Cool strategy, right? So
So that's our Reddit trading strategy. If you have no coding experience, really not that hard for you guys to get this up and running. It's part of our code library, so you can actually start off with this. You can modify it however you want. You don't have to be an expert programmer to do this stuff, guys. You don't have to be some like whiz kid, because we give you a lot of these templates that you can start off with. All right. Okay, cool. So that's a Reddit sentiment. I'm going to show you one more. That one actually is really cool. I gotta run that one. I'm going to do that after this. Going to run in the cloud and have it go for a few days, test it out for a couple of days, because that's pretty impressive how well it did that quickly. Like I said, we just built this one like 2 days ago. Another one I want to show you guys, and this is one that we actually just put a bunch of our money into. I really like this strategy, and I'll tell you why. Right? I'll tell you why through a back test. Okay, so we teach you not only how to build the bots, we also teach you how to do the research behind it, as to, you know, how are you going to be picking a strategy? Is this a good strategy for you to do or not, right? How do you find these strategies? And this is one way they can figure out whether a strategy is good for you or not, okay? What I'm doing right now is I'm running a back test, okay? So it's a back test for a strategy that we call diversified leverage, okay? And basically what we're doing is we're going from 2012, right? We're doing this because some of these ticker symbols didn't exist until 2012. From 2012 until 2021, so 9 years, okay? And we're seeing how would our strategy have done over the past 9 years? What kind of results would we have gotten, all right? So the strategy in particular, the one that we're doing, is called this diversified leverage strategy, okay? And basically what it is this is like modern portfolio theory, right? If you talk to someone like a Ray Dalio, or you talk to like some of the most prominent investors in the world, they all tell you diversify well. And the reason why you diversify well is because you want to make sure that you reduce your risk. And if you reduce your risk, you can take on more, you can actually take on more risk and make more money, right? Essentially. So what this is we have a bunch of different ticker symbols we're in here. We're in the leveraged NASDAQ, so TQQQ, right? So it's the triple NASDAQ, right? So 3x the returns of NASDAQ. If you look at the stock chart on this thing, it's wild. It's like up 1,600% in 2 years or something like that. It's crazy, right? But of course, also has its risks. There's a downside as well, right? So we want to protect against that. So we have 20% of our money into that, 10% of our money into UPRO, which is the leveraged S&P 500, 3x leveraged. Then we have 10% of our money into UDOW, which is a leveraged Dow Jones. Then we have 10% of our money in emerging markets, right? Leveraged emerging markets, right? 35% of our money in leveraged treasury bonds. So now we diversify, right? So we have in total 50% of our money in stocks, right? In leveraged stocks, right? And diversified around the world a little bit, right? And then we have the rest of our money in something to counterbalance that, right? To reduce our risks, to give us some good hedging, and to improve our returns without taking on too much risk, right? So we do that by having leveraged treasury bonds. So usually when stocks fall, treasuries go up and vice versa. So they're a really good hedge to have in a portfolio. We also have the Barclays VIX, right? This is an interesting one. Basically, you lose money regularly, but when things fall apart, if like the stock market crashes, it'll go like up 5x. You'll make 500% of your money in like a day, right? And that's a really good hedge, because if things fall, you want to be able to protect yourself, right? And we also have 5% of our money in gold. So this is one that actually I've put some of our money into, right? Not all, but some good chunk of our money into this strategy. And I'll tell you why, right? When we look at the back test, what we can see here is, look at this. So this strategy, okay, over that same time period, right? Over this 2012 to 2021, that 9 years there. So January 1st, 2012 to January 1st, 2021, right? So 9 years, okay? Over that time period, the S&P 500 was up 17.5%, which is nice, right? If you were in this strategy, you would have made 28.9%. You would have almost doubled the stock market's returns, okay? Which is amazing, right? Like obviously that's, if you guys do the math behind this is the difference between when you retire, you could retire with $1 million versus 10 million, right? That's like the difference, right? Like it's a very, very large difference when you have double the stock market returns. Huge payouts. This could be worth $9 million to you in the future. You know what I mean, this kind of differential, right? But okay, so it's great to have a higher returns. That's awesome, right? But we're not just talking about higher returns here. We're talking about higher returns while taking on the same amount or less risk. Okay. So over that same time period, so we doubled the stock market's returns,
but we also had only a little bit of increase in our volatility. It's not too much more volatile, so meaning this up and down thing. And our max drawdown is almost exactly the same, right? So meaning from the peak to the bottom, right? This is in last year, right? March, 2020, stock market fell 30%. From the very top to the very bottom, it fell 33%. Okay. If you were invested in this strategy, you would have also only lost about 33% at the same time period. So we have the same risk as the stock market, but we're making double the returns. That to me sounds incredibly impressive, right? Which is why we're putting some of our money into this, right? We diversify among different strategies. We don't put everything into one, but this was one when we're looking at 30% of your returns, sounds very appealing to me. All right, so this one went ahead. When we go in here, you can see it automatically bought all these things for us, right? All the different ones. This would be a pain, by the way, to do on your own. And the key is that it doesn't just buy these, it rebalances. And that's the key here, right? Because you'll have days like, for example, TQQQ will shoot up, in a week's time, will shoot up 100% or something like that. When it shoots up 100%, you want to rebalance your portfolio and put money somewhere else. And that's how you actually get the safety along with the very good gains, right? It's intelligent portfolio construction, and that's how you end up making all the money. That's why having like a robot that'll automatically look at the stuff and rebalance for you is really important, because that's how you're actually going to end up with these returns. You can't just go and buy them and that's it, right? You actually have to be rebalancing and trading them on a regular basis, right? So I very much like this strategy as well. We have our own money, like I said, in this as well, and so far been doing, we've been making good money. So I'm happy with it so far. All right, cool. All right, so that's a couple of our strategies. We've showed you everything from our day trading, to trading off of Reddit, to building intelligent portfolios. I have a few more that I could show you guys. We have a whole library, like I said. There's tons of different things. We have things where we trade off of like macroeconomic things where we use like the debt, where the Fed Reserve, that they take on debt. We trade off of that. We're building out a bunch of options trading strategies as well. Which we're going to have a separate webinar to kind of explain a bunch of that stuff where, you can trade volatility and all that sort of thing. We have lots and lots of different strategies, and we just keep growing more and more of them. So if you guys join our courses, not only are we going to teach you how to do this stuff, we're going to give you access to that big library. So you'll be able to either use it right out of the box, or, modify it to do whatever you want it to do. You'll have access to that sort of stuff. All right. Cool. So that's the demo.
All right, guys. So what did you think about the demo of some of our algorithms? I hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, let me know what you guys thought. You could type your answers into the chat box here. All right, but let me tell you guys a little bit about our full out course. So we spent a lot of time learning about algo trading today. Right, and I'm going to share this tab with you guys here so you guys can follow along with me. Right, just 1 second. I'm going to share this new tab with you. There you go. And let me share the link to this class with you as well. Absolutely awesome. Nice. Very cool, Todd. Glad you enjoyed that. Very, very cool. We spent a lot of time building this. Sunil says, great to watch. Its potential awesome. Very cool. Yeah, we spent a lot of time building technology around this stuff. So, hopefully you guys are enjoying that benefit there. We've spent the better part of 3 years building out all this tech. And honestly, there's even more like really, really cool stuff around the corner. Yeah, so very cool. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. It's awesome. Cool. So let me tell you about the full course. All right. So that was a very nice introduction into algo trading. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Learned a lot about kind of the whole profession and what we do. All right. But let me tell you about our specific course here. If you want to continue your learning, right? If you want to keep learning about this sort of stuff, here's our full course on algorithmic trading. I'm going to put, actually, I've already put the link into the chat here. I'm going to put it one more time just because I fell behind a little bit, just to bump it. So you guys can follow along. But here is the course itself, the large course. you can read about, our learning outcomes, right? But I want to divert your attention here to our curriculum. And this is basically what the whole course is about. It's a 3-part course. We teach this course both live, and you can get the recordings of our live classes as well. Right, so the 3 parts are part 1, we're going to teach you about the fundamentals of data science, specifically how that relates to the world of finance, right? So week 1 is going to be all about setting up your computers, making sure they have all the tools necessary, introducing you to everyone else in the class. A lot of people end up working together in the class as well. We, again, pride ourselves on our community, so you'll get to know other people in the class too. Right. Week 2 is going to be a refresher for Python. So for those of you that don't know Python, we're going to go through it quite quickly, and you're going to learn about the basics of Python programming within basically 2 days here, week 2 and week 3. We're going to cover most of Python, at least the stuff that you need to know in order to build these algorithms, right? Numbers, strings, loops, functions, that sort of stuff. And we're going to do it in such a way that for those of you that are brand new to it, you'll be able to learn this pretty quickly. And for those of you that know this stuff already, it's going to breeze by pretty quickly, and it's not going to be something that we spend a ton of time on. All right, so week 2, Python refresher. Week 3, we're going to talk about a little bit more about Python, and then basically how do you start taking all these things in Python and applying them to the world of finance, right? How do you download data? How do you use the library called Pandas, which is basically, kind of like Excel on steroids, you could say that. How do you use Pandas to download this data and come up with some sort of insights, right? So we'll talk about loading CSV files, merging data frames, graphing things out, data sources you could access, all that kind of stuff. We're going to cover some really cool things. And I think by the end of week 4, you're going to have a really strong grasp of how to use programming to actually get some insights into the world of finance. Right? So that's part 1. Part 2, so that's 4 weeks long, by the way. Each part, so it's 3 parts, 12 weeks, 4 weeks each part. All right, so part 1 is 4 weeks long. Part 2, we're going to get into really the weeds of it. Right, so we're going to talk about how do you use coding to essentially build bots, and more importantly, figure out, are these bots going to make you money or not, right? So in week 5, we're going to set up basically your computer with LumiBot and with some other technologies that are actually able to place trades. I think by the end of week 5, you'll have placed your own trades. The most recent class, we had 12 people. It was about 9 of them out of 12 were able to place their first trades on this week 5 here, actually connect to a broker, place trades, see that executing. For the other 3 people that didn't, they got it done by week 6. All right. Okay, so week 5, you get all that set up. You're actually placing trades. You're seeing these things execute. It's very cool. Week 6, we're going to talk about the mechanics of the market and how the stock market works at a more detailed level, right? And specifically how that applies to the world of algorithmic trading. And then we're also going to show you how to do some back tests and how to actually take previous data and see how things would perform based off of that data. All right. Weeks 7 and 8, we're going to go deeper into that, and we're going to show you in week 7, we're going to do a case study using economic data from the Federal Reserve and how you can build an algorithm using economic data. It will show you how you go from the very beginning all the way until actually an algorithm that works that can make you potentially some very good money going forward. All right. We're going to also talk about Yahoo Finance data and specifically how to use that in your back tests, right? It's free data. It's very easy to access. It's a great way to get some data for your back tests, right? And then week 8, we're going to go into, calculating returns. We're going to go more into back testing, and we're going to be building actually a strategy live, right? So you'll get a chance to see essentially, this is kind of what we do is it's myself teaching this course. So I pose the question of what kind of algorithms would you guys like to have built? And you guys will kind of say, this is what we want to have built. And I will build an algorithm for you live within 30 minutes. You'll see how to go from the very beginning all the way into a working algorithm within 30 minutes. 30 minutes to an hour, kind of depending on what you guys come up with, right? But you'll see the whole thing going from beginning to end in terms of building an algorithm. So you'll get a really good sense of, the thought process behind it. And, we'll have this interactive conversation as to, how do we want to build this? What do we want to think about? We'll have this very intricate kind of conversation around that, right? A lot of people really like that, by the way. We started doing that recently, and a lot of people really enjoy seeing that thought process going from, nothing until bought, the full circle, right? So we have some questions here. So Todd asks, how much can you help me with crypto CEXs? CEXs, you might want to remind me what that is. Centralized exchanges, right? How can you help me with crypto centralized exchanges? What do you mean by that exactly, Todd? If you could give me a little bit more context around that, I can answer your question better, I think. IT says, what's the average return for someone with no trading experience? Yeah, so Todd, yeah, that's what I thought, centralized exchanges. So either way, Todd, so if you could still let me know what you mean by help with centralized exchanges. Do you mean building one? Do you mean connecting to one? Do you mean trading on one? Like, what do you mean exactly by that, Todd? Just let me know. KuCoin, Coinbase, yeah. So I mean, we connect to KuCoin, we connect to Coinbase, we connect to Binance. These are all exchanges that we work with. I'm big fans of all of those. You literally just named the top 3 exchanges in my mind. We connect to integrate bot. Yeah, so we have technology that does this. We actually have an open source bot. You can look at us. You can find LumiBot. It's an open source Python platform or Python library, I should say. That's, we've developed this thing over time. You could use that. You could trade with that. We work extensively with LumiBot, and you can kind of see how to connect those things. It's open source, so you're not limited to any platform. That's, I think, very important. There's other, algo trading platforms out there, but they're, you have to stick to them, and they're taking all your code, right? We are not in that business. We built this because we're an education company. We just give this out for free. So we're going to be doing that sort of thing. We'll show you how to integrate with them, right? And you can do that using LumiBot, right? If you want to do different kinds of integrations with that, we could even go into that as well, right? There's more deep integrations they can make. But in either case, KuCoin, Coinbase, Binance, my top 3 exchanges, we just named all of them. They all work with LumiBot. It's very simple to actually make that connection. And we'll walk through that, how to do that in the class, right? It's actually quite easy to do this. We've built this Python library that makes that very, very simple, right? Cool. So IT asks, what's the average return for someone with no trading experience? That is a very loaded question. I can't answer that for you. We don't collect average returns from our students. It's, there's a lot of reasons behind that. But I could tell you that if you look at some of our algorithms, a lot of them back test, anywhere from 20% to 100% returns per year. It very much depends on your risk tolerance. I generally have the thought, if someone's telling you you're going to make 150% a year, I would run from someone like that, because they are chances are they're trying to either steal your money, or they are someone who has no idea what's going on and has no idea of what risk tolerance is. But in either case, there's a very big spectrum. So it really depends on how much risk you want to take and kind of what you want to do. I think, reasonably, it's good to expect over a long period of time, maybe 15, 20, 30% a year returns. You could do a lot better than that if you are the crazy risk-taking type. I've seen people make 400 or 500% a year. I've seen people that have built machine learning algorithms make 1,000 or 1,500% a year returns. But keep in mind, that depends on a lot of factors, right? It depends on what kind of risks you're taking. It depends on, is this money your life savings, or is this something that you can mess around with, right? There's a lot of details behind that. But I've seen returns anywhere from, safe, conservative, 10, 15, 20%, all the way to crazy, all out risk, making, 1,000% a year returns. I've seen all of the above, but it really depends on the details, right? So hopefully that answers your question a little bit there. So I'm going to go back to Todd here. So with LumiBot, they can't see my code. Correct. Yeah. So if you use, so I'm asking because I would like to rather provide private and not just offer my code to the exchanges. Do they really look at people's code? Yeah, so that is a very good thing that you bring up, Todd. So that's exactly why we built LumiBot the way that we did it. It is an open source Python library. So if you build out an algorithm using LumiBot, no one else can see that unless you choose to share that, right? Which you might want to. Maybe you want to create a hedge fund or whatever, right? But for the most part, when you build something with LumiBot, no one else is going to see your code, so it's private, right? And we did that specifically because of our education institution, and we know what people want, right? There's other venues out there, other vendors they can use, where you can build algorithms, but you're giving it to the exchanges or you're giving it to some other platform. They own your code. They know what you're doing, right? And why in the world would you want to build some algorithm that makes you 1,000% a year or something crazy? Spend your life doing this, right? Building something that is extremely profitable. Why in the world would you want to just hand that over to someone else, right? So that's exactly why we built LumiBot, and that's exactly why we're taking this approach, because it allows you to build something that you keep the code, you keep the keys to the castle, and if you want, you could sell this to other people through different kind of means, right? And we're actually building a lot of code that can help you distribute that to other people if that's something that you're looking to do, right? But we can go down that path if you'd like, right? But yeah, I think in general, that's the important point, is that this is open source. This is your code. You own it. You don't have to share that with anyone else, right? So I think that's very important, right? Thank you for asking a question, Todd. I think it's a very important question to ask. Okay, cool. So digress a little bit here. Let me get back to our curriculum, and you guys can feel free to keep asking questions. I'm going to continue on a little bit here. So we talked about part one, where you learn the fundamentals of data science and all that kind of stuff. Part two, where you learn how to apply that to the world of finance. You learn how to back test your algorithms. You actually place some trades. You learn about market mechanics. You learn about some specific ways of doing these things. Like, for example, week 7, we cover using economic data to figure out how to trade. Week 8, we talk about how to calculate returns. We do this live trading strategy. We build it live together, so you really get a sense of how to build these things, right? And then part 3 is when we really kick it up a notch. And part 3 is really about just seeing lots and lots of case studies. You're going to see a lot of different algorithms. I counted this. It's actually kind of crazy. We've built a lot of them. I think we have 30 different algorithms that you have access to. Something like 20 or 30 different algorithms that you get access to when you go through our algo trading class. You'll get a chance to see everything from technical analysis to event-based trading to using economic data in different asset classes, including stocks and crypto and futures and options. You'll see it all, and we'll go through a lot of different case studies throughout part 3. So week 9, we're going to cover this debt trading case study. You'll see how to build a case study or how to build an algorithm around that. In week 10, you'll see a few different trading examples, a few different bot examples. Usually what we do is we show you our most profitable ones, right? Some of them back testing make like 100% a year. Some of them make less, some of them make more, right? Again, I'm very much a risk conscious type of person. I think if you go to a trading institution or you go to some sort of investor and they're telling you they're going to make you some crazy hundreds of % returns and there's no risk involved, I would run for the hills. I can't tell you how many times I've heard of people getting scammed by these types of things. I think it's very important to have your head on straight. So we're going to show you a lot of different spectrum of different types of algorithms, right? There's everything from the safe and you're making money consistently. And, some things I personally really like doing because, we have a large amount of capital. I manage money for quite a few people, and, a couple $1,000,000 if we were to take incredibly large risks with that wouldn't make our clients happy, right? But maybe you're someone that has a smaller amount of money, or maybe you have some amount of money that you don't mind risking, and maybe you can make a couple 100% return, right? We'll talk about that whole spectrum, right? And what that means in terms of risks and what that means in terms of what you can get from it, right? And we'll show you a lot of those different examples in week 10 and week 11, right? And you guys can actually choose, like I said, we have a whole library of these algorithms that you guys can pick and choose from, and we can show those off, right? And then week 12, it's a special week. We're going to cover machine learning. We have an entire class just on machine learning. But in week 12, we'll show you how to use machine learning, or in other words, artificial intelligence, as most people will know it, how to use that to forecast returns, and how to use that to actually make some very good money doing this sort of thing. Right? Okay, so that's our 3 parts, 12 weeks long in total. And yeah, so part 1, fundamentals. Part 2, we'll show you how to set all this stuff up, how to connect to all the different exchanges and trade. And then part 3, we'll show you lots of different examples of bots, everything from the very low risk to the very high risk, and many different types of situations, right? Everything from machine learning to event-based to economic data and all sorts of that type of thing, right? Okay, cool. Just checking the chat here. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so let's talk about the different plans that we have. Okay, so we have 3 different plans that you guys can choose from when you want to join our classes. And this ranges from the our self-directed all the way up into our project help and tutoring plan, right? And each one of them, we give you more and more help throughout the process, right? So our beginner plan, right? And, you know, probably our least popular plan, but, you know, a lot of people tend to choose this depending on their situations, is our self-directed plan. And this basically has the recordings of our classes. You can watch all the recordings of our past classes. You get access to all of our code, right? So you can use any of the code that we have in our classes as you wish. You can use any of our algorithms and just run them if you want, or you can modify them, whatever you want to do. And then you also get access to our community, which can be quite valuable. There's a lot of people in our community that have built some pretty incredible bots, really are making quite a bit of money. So you can get to know all those people and really plug into what we're doing here. All right. You can join our basic community normally, but when you join our classes, you get access to a lot of our private channels, including our private voice channels, where you can actually speak over voice and talk with other people and ask them, you know, how are your algorithms doing? What's working for you? What's not working for you? You know, you can really get to know other people and kind of their experiences throughout this, and, you know, potentially share code and collaborate on things and maybe make a ton of money together, right? I've seen quite a few people build algorithms together throughout this, and there's a lot of really cool stuff that happens for that, right? So, okay, so that's our self-directed plan. Really, the kind of the key point there is that this is pre-recorded lectures that you can watch at your own pace, right? But it is not, you're not part of the live community. Okay? So that's self-directed. Our live classes basically takes everything from that self-directed plan, right? You get access to the recordings, you get access to our community, you get access to all of our code, right? But on top of that, you also get to join our classes live, right? Which is kind of like what we're doing right now, right? We're live right now, right? But it's over Zoom, and you guys can actually share your screens. You guys can turn on your microphones. And when we're going through the classes, you could just ask, well, what do you mean by that, right? Or maybe this isn't working on your computer, and you can ask, you know, how do I make this work on my computer? We can share screens and we can make that work for you, right? So it's a lot more engaged. It's a lot more, it's more like actually being in a class in real life, right? Like if you're in a class in human form, right? Rather than digitally, right? You can ask the instructor, you know, what's going on here? How do you do this? What do you mean by that, right? You guys can go on your computers and actually do things, and you get a lot of really one-on-one help through this, right? So you get a lot of support throughout the class, right? You get a chance to present your algorithms or present your ideas, so you get feedback on this, right? You get a chance to really get involved in this big time. Also, another big thing about these live classes that some people don't realize when they go into it is that it also paces you, right? Because these classes happen for 12 weeks, once a week. It forces you to show up. It forces you to actually sit down, write code, and get things done. I found that people that do the live classes, they tend to be much more successful and make a lot more money doing things with their algorithms, right? That's a live plan, and that's kind of what you get from it. Also, by the way, in the live plan, you get a lot more support. So if you want to have one-on-one support, we can help you out quite a bit with that. If you want to book a call, I'm very open to booking calls. You'll have a calendar link, and you can just say, "Hey, I need some help." You don't even have to let me know. Book a time, and we'll go there. And I'll tell you, yesterday, for example, we have a class of 12 students in our most recent algo trading class. I took a couple hours out of my day yesterday, making sure everyone's computer's set up, making sure that everyone's working well. Some people had specific questions. Some people are doing really, really well in this class, by the way, building some really cool stuff. And actually just sitting down and writing code with people in the class, right? I was able to fix a bunch of bugs in their algorithms. That's the kind of support they get from these live classes, right? Also in the live classes, by the way, you could retake them as many times as you want, right? So if you take the class, for example, the next one that's starting in December, if you were to take that class, and let's say something happens, right? Let's say you get promoted, right? A lot of people get promotions going through our classes. Let's say you move, let's say you bought a new house, whatever, right? And you can't attend a couple of the lectures, you're always welcome to retake the classes, right? Or, for example, we've been doing this for quite a few years. The people that took our classes 3 years ago, right? Some of them have retaken it because our technology has changed quite a bit, right? We've improved a lot of things. There's so many new features that we have. And there's a couple of people that have retaken these classes simply to get access to that new technology and see how all that works, right? So live classes, right? You also get access to that code. You also get access to the community. Everything that self-directed has, live classes have too. Plus, you really get that extra support. This is probably our most popular plan, although more recently, I think more people have even chosen to do our Project Help Tutoring plan, which is the step up from there, right? So everything that you get in the live classes, right, you get access to in our Project Help and Tutoring plan. So you get, community, you get all of our code going forward, by the way. Any new algorithms that we build, we also give them to you. You get access to our live classes. You could join in live. You could take the live classes as many times as you want. You get a lot of this one-on-one support. Actually, with our Project Help Tutoring plan, honestly, I don't even pay attention to how many hours you show up. We say officially 10 hours that we give you in live one-on-one support. On a more unofficial basis, I don't even count it. If you need help, we'll help you out. That's no problem. And then on top of that, with our Project Help Tutoring plan, you could actually get our team of developers, and we have a whole team of people that build algorithms now. You can get them to build your algorithms for you, right? So let's say you take this class, and maybe you're new to coding, or maybe you just don't have a ton of time, right? You can get our software developers to build out the algorithm for you in a very professional manner, built very well and with all the experience that they have, right? And then when you're going through a class, you can learn how to modify it. You can learn how to add features to it, right? Or maybe you go through our class and you kind of come up with some ideas. And I'd really like to do this. And you need someone to help you build some things out. We will have those software engineers be able to help you with all that stuff, right? So that's really what our Project Help Tutoring plan is about. And people love this stuff. I mean, like I said, our live classes used to be our best sellers. Our Project Help, I think this has become our best selling plan more recently. And, it makes sense, right? Because you guys, not only do you get to go through the class and learn about all the stuff, you learn about investing, you learn about coding, you learn how to put the two together, right? But then you also have our entire software team helping you out and making sure that you've built this thing out properly, that it's going to make you money. I can't guarantee you that we're going to make you money, but I think the chances are much, much higher when we have our professionals looking out for you and making sure that you are building things properly and doing all the best practices, right? So Project Help Tutoring is our highest tier there, where you get access to our community, you get access to all of our code, you get access to all of our recordings, you You get access to our live classes and participate in our live classes as many times as you want. And then on top of that, you also get access to our software team that can help you out with actually building these things as well. Right. Cool. Okay, so here are three different course plans, right? So as I mentioned, our self-directed plan comes with, lifetime access to our video library, lifetime access to our library of code, access to our community, right? You get support through the Lumi Wealth community. You also get these live calls as well. And then access to our weekly discussion hour, which, like I said, is this time where you get to communicate over live chat, like voice chat, asking people how they're doing. This class is about $2,000-ish, $19.95, right? And it's a 3 and 5 month payment plan. So if you guys cannot pay it all up front, you could also use our payment plans as well. All right. We also have our live class, right? Our live class, as I mentioned, has everything that the self-directed class has. There's also 12 weeks of the live classes included in that, right? You get 6 hours of dedicated Q&A, although, sometimes we'll even spend more time with you, right? It's pretty loose. You get access to all the future videos and code, any new videos that come out. If you want to retake the classes, you can retake them. You get help with 2 personal projects. You get to know other classmates. We're very collaborative. We spend a lot of time trying to get everyone to know each other. You get help with your resume and interview prep. If you're doing this to try to help you get a job, we can actually help you with that as well. And you get unlimited chat and Q&A, chat and email Q&A. We'll help you out with whatever you need help with, right? This is about $44.95 for this class. And again, 3 and 5 month payment plans are available if you need that, right? And then our most advanced plan, this is the top of the top, right? This includes everything from self-directed and live. So all those things before are included, right? And then you also get access to our, our live classes. You get help with building a custom project, and you get this 10 hours of one-on-one or development time, right? If you want to use these 10 hours, you could use 10 hours for us to sit down and write code together, if that's what you want to do. You could use those 10 hours to get help on anything that you're doing, or you could use those 10 hours and just say, hey, build this for me, right? And we'll go ahead and just build that for you, deliver the code to you, and you can start using it, right? So a lot of people that have built this or use this plan, they're building hedge funds, or they have some strategy in mind that so they're making the money, they want to automate it. This plan is really quite applicable for a lot of those different types of things. Or if you just really want to get good at this stuff, this is the plan for you, right? And as I said, this has very quickly become one of our most popular plans. It's $63.95, and again, 3 and 5 month payment plans are available for that as well, right? So here's an example of going through it. So if you want to actually purchase this, you click on select options, right? For a live class, for example, it'll take you down here. Here's our 2 live classes that are coming up. The next live class that's starting is on December 11th, so coming up very soon. The registration closes on December 4th. As I said, it goes for 12 weeks, excluding holiday breaks. So this one, December 11th, we're gonna probably skip over Christmas and New Year's, right? There will be a 2-week break there, so don't worry if you have, plans with your family or whatever. We're not going to force you to show up to class during Christmas, you know what I mean, or whatever it is that you're doing. So we will take that break. So don't feel like that's an impediment. We want to take breaks too, right? And as you should, spend time with your family and all that. But anyway, so it starts on December 11th, 12 weeks long. We recommend something like 8 to 12 hours a week in effort, although I've seen a big range. Some people spend a lot less, some people spend a lot more. Kind of depends on how quickly you want to progress through this. The people, obviously, if you spend more time, you're going to progress faster. If you spend less time, it's going to take you a bit longer. That's fine, right? Unless you've used the project help plan, which we can accelerate that process for you. This class is a Sunday class. Is going to be every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern time or 1 p.m. Pacific time, right? So very accommodative to both time zones, right? Or in anything in between, right? So don't feel like you have to wake up early in the morning, get your coffee, go have your brunch, and you can come back and go to this class, right? And then each class, each lecture is usually about 2 hours per week. That ranges anywhere from an hour to 3, right? Sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer, kind of depends on what we're going through. But let's say about 2 weeks or 2 hours per week on average, and it's live over Zoom, right? So you get a Zoom link and we'll join and discuss all that stuff, right? So that's coming up very quickly. By the way, we're right now having a, what's it called? A Black Friday sale, right? So if you guys are looking to save some money, now is the time to do it, right? The sale goes on, I don't know when it ends. I probably should know when it ends, but I think it ends in about a week from now, right? We don't have that written anywhere, but you know, the Black Friday sale, you've probably gotten the emails as well, is going to be ending soon. So if you guys want to save some money, I think it's 25% off. If you're talking about, you know, this plan here, 6,400 bucks, 25% off, you're saving a lot of money. You know what I mean? You're saving something like $1,500 or $2,000. So make sure you take advantage of that, right? Our Black Friday deal really is going to save you quite a bit of money on that stuff. All right, so anyway, so that's our December class. We also have a class starting in February if December doesn't work for you or if Sundays don't work for you. This class starts on February 23rd, right? So a little ways out. Although if you sign up now, you get 20% off in addition, right? So you get this extra 20% off, right? And you're going to be able to get started earlier as well because you get access to the videos if that's what you need to do, right? Technically, if you buy one, you can attend both as well, actually. Right, this class is also 12 weeks long, excluding holidays. Same effort. This one is, though, on a Thursday, right? So Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. Pacific. And again, it's about 2 hours per week on average. Okay. Here's an example of you actually purchasing it. So if you were to want to purchase the December class, for example, you click on select course, December, right? So I'll click on that. We'll see here. I have a couple on my cart. I'm going to just pick the December class, right? So here's that December class. You see what that looks like, right? If you have a coupon, you'd put it in here. For example, that Black Friday coupon code, you'd place in here, hit apply coupon. You'll save that money there. And then you go to proceed to checkout, and that's how you're going to go through this whole flow. All right, so just to show you kind of what it looks like. If you want to use the payment plan, you can click on that here. This is what will start that payment plan, and then you can pick 3 or 5 months, right? If you want to pay in full, you don't need to check that off, and this is how you're able to pay in full, okay? Either way, you're going to fill out your credit card information and check out this way. You could pay with PayPal, or you can pay using regular credit cards, right? Okay, cool. So let me go back here. One more thing I want to show you on this page. And let me check the chat. Okay. One more thing is we also have a guarantee on this page. So, and I take this very seriously. If you can't build a bot by the end of this class, I have never seen it happen, by the way. This is crazy talk, right? I've never seen it happen. That's why I'm very confident giving you this guarantee. But if you can't build a bot by the end of this class, assuming you actually show up, right? If you don't show up, I mean, this doesn't count, but show up and you actually put in the work, then not only will you get your money back, but I'll give you an extra $600 just for your time, okay? I'm so confident that by the end of this class, you will have a bot working, running on your computer, placing trades. I can't guarantee you, you know, money, right? That's the course of investing. I can't tell you you're going to make 1,000% a year. That's just not how investing works, right? But I can guarantee you that you'll have a bot working on your computer, running, placing trades, hopefully making you quite a bit of money, right? If you are not able to get that done, if you're not able to get this thing running on your computer, I'll give you all your money back plus 600 bucks for your time, okay? I've never seen this happen before. Every single student that's ever gone through our class has built a bot, has had this thing trading. And as I said, I would hope that by week 5, you already have a bot trading. By week 6, guaranteed pretty much, right? And by the end of the class, I mean, you know, pretty much guaranteed, right? I will spend as much time with you as needed to make sure that you have this thing working, running on your computer, placing trades, and hopefully making you some very good returns as well. Right? That's our guarantee there. Cool. Okay. We also have two projects that you do throughout the course. Project one, we're analyzing investment strategies. We talk a lot about different types of strategies that you can take. We talked about them a little bit today. We talk about them even more throughout the class. You'll have a chance to present your strategy, get feedback on your strategy. What do other people think? What do I think? We also have a guest lecture, by the way. We started doing this recently by the person who teaches our bulletproof trading class. Guy Porter. He usually does a guest lecture on week 5. So it's actually, you get more than just 12 weeks. You get 13 weeks of classes with that really nice bonus in between for week 5, where Guy, normally charges a ton of money for this. He manages like $60 million worth of capital. And he's been doing this for 30, 40 years. Very, very good person to learn from. He's going to show you about his methodology for finding good strategies and how you can actually apply that to this class, right? So project one, analyzing investment strategies, you're going to get a lot of help around that. Project two, you're going to get a chance to, we're going to help you with actually building a live trading robot and making sure that this thing works for you and hopefully is making you some very good money, right? If you want to read about me, here's a little bit more about myself. Name is Rob. You can read a little bit about me here. There's also my LinkedIn profile if you're interested. I'm going to find myself here on LinkedIn. You can't see what I'm typing right now, but I'll send a link inside of the chat to my profile if you're interested in. Way too many questions you're asking me here. All right, so here is my LinkedIn. I feel like we need to add this to our actual website, which we will do, but there is my LinkedIn profile, right? Okay. And all right, so we have a little bit about myself. If you want to also read some testimonials about some of our past students, here's quite a few testimonials that you can read. I'll tell you a few students. A game, for example, was one of our earlier students a couple years ago. He's done very well for himself. Not only has he made money doing trading, but he has actually even started a business where he sells trading advice to people. And last I heard, he's making a couple $1,000s a month doing that, doing quite well for himself. Renee, who has learned how to do some very cool stuff, and you can read about what he's done there or listen to him, right? Santayan, this guy's been doing quite well for himself as well. Last I heard, he's been making some very, very good returns on his algorithms, right? And then if you want to get more of our testimonials, you could actually go to our more testimonials page right here. You'll get a chance to, learn more about the people that have taken our courses and kind of what they think. This is not all of our testimonials. We need to add more of them here. We keep getting more and more of them, right? This is by no means an extensive list. We really need to add in more here. If you go to our YouTube page, you could actually go to testimonials as well and see, people have taken our classes. What do they think, right? Don't take my word for it. We've had a lot of happy customers. I think that's the most important thing to do in a business is make sure that people are happy and make sure that they get good results coming out of what you do. So that's what our focus is. And I hope you get that when you listen to these people talk and see what they thought about our courses. All right. Okay, cool. So that's pretty much it for our course. Let me also share with you, if you would like to have a chance to speak with some of our staff and, there you go. Here is a link to speak to our staff, our Calendly link here. I've put that underneath. If you would like to book a call with someone and learn more about what we do, maybe you have some questions about the courses, feel free to book a call there. We have a really good, well-trained staff that will teach you a lot about kind of what we do and will answer a lot of your questions, right? You can also feel free to email me at rob@lumiwealth.com. I'm going to put that email address in there. Or, contact me over Discord, right? I've told you guys about our Discord channel. I'll share the link with you one more time here. But here's our link to our Discord channel. I'm very active on here. So if you have any questions about anything to do with our class, anything to do with algorithmic trading, or if you just want to chat about investing, I mean, I love doing this stuff. This is like, I feel like this is like my life's work. I feel like I'm going to die and like be remembered for building trading algorithms. Love it. You know, that's my thing. You know, it's something I care about a lot, something I've wanted to do my entire life. So, you know, if you want to chat about any of that stuff, you have any questions about any of that stuff, let me know. You know, I'm here to answer your questions, right? Or if you want to book that Calendly link, you can do that as well. All right. And let me return back to our presentation here. All right, if you just give me a quick second, I'll flip back over to this. Right, but essentially, do you guys have any other questions for me? Right, well, we have you guys here live. Let me know, do you have any questions around anything that we covered today, anything around LumiWealth, any personal questions for me, or any questions about investing or algo trading in particular? Let me know. All right, I'm going to leave the line open for a little bit, just because I know there's a bit of a lag between when I speak and you hear it. So I'll give you some time. I'll give you guys a chance to also type out your questions. So I'll be here waiting to hear what you guys, what questions you guys have. Also, what did you guys think about the presentation today? You know, what did you guys think about our class? It's a free class. You know, a lot of people say they go through this class and they say, oh yeah, it's a free class, you know, or why, like, you know, there's only a certain amount of things that we can cover throughout this 2 hours that we've been here together. I hope you guys learned a lot throughout this. I hope I was able to add some value to your lives, right? If you have any other things I can do to help you, please let me know, right? I'm more than happy to help. This is something that I care about very much. And I want to make sure that you guys become very successful as well, right? I can tell you we've done very well in our own investing. I manage a decent amount of money, a couple $1,000,000 for myself and others. That's probably going to be quite a bit larger very soon because we're launching a new website where we're going to be offering our trading algorithms to people for sale. But let me know what you guys think. What did you guys think about all this, and what questions do you have for me? A lot of opportunities in this stuff. All right, cool. Well, I feel like there's been, you guys have had some, okay, there we go. We have Scott. How many different trading platforms can I build bots on? So with our LumiBot trading platform, or LumiBot, you know, Python library, right now you're able to access interactive brokers, Alpaca, Coinbase, KuCoin, and Binance, right? Now, when people ask me this, how many different and by the way, we're adding a bunch more. We're adding Trade We're probably going to add in TD Ameritrade very soon, right? But when people ask me this, the chances are you're probably using some specific trading platform that you're trading with, right? Maybe you want to do something else, right? I'm assuming here. But we have chosen specifically the brokers that work best with algorithms, right? So a lot of people come to me and say, I'm using, you know, whatever broker, right? So name a broker, right? Can I use that with algorithms? I mean, you know, do you really want to be using just any broker, right? You want to be using the one that makes most sense for algorithms, right? Which means you want to have low fees, right? You want to have algorithms that work well, and you want to have good data for cheap, right? Those are the things that matter when you're building trading algorithms. Furthermore, you do not want to use the same account that you're trading manually as with your bot, right? You're going to confuse your bot. If you're trading through TD Ameritrade, you do not want to use a bot on the exact same account, because as soon as you go in there, like, your bot's going to be making you money, you know, making trades for you. As soon as you go in there and try to trade on your own, you're going to confuse it and you're going to throw off the whole system, right? So you want to have a completely different account that you use for your bots than the account that you use for manual trading. And the account that you use for your bots needs to be low cost It needs to be very good with algorithms, and it needs to have good, good data feeds, right? The charting stuff, that doesn't matter when it comes to bots. You can do that with your own personal trading. Feel free to use that in any way that you want. But for your bots, that is kind of the main thing that we want to do, right? So Scott says, sweet, I wouldn't have a problem using a different broker. NinjaTrader does good with bots, but I can switch over if I learn how to code bots. Yeah, 100%, exactly. NinjaTrader is very expensive, by the way. If you actually look at like their trading fees, NinjaTrader, they actually have like a trading, they have like a platform where you can like code with them and put in code. First of all, they own your code, right? So if you write code with NinjaTrader, they own it. It's not yours anymore, right? They could steal it from you if you wanted to, right? Second of all, there's a very limited amount of things that you could do with NinjaTrader code. You could only really trade around price action. You can't do the things I talked about, like event trading or machine learning. You can't do any of that kind of stuff with NinjaTrader. They're very limited, right? And third of all, they're very expensive, right? Compared to a lot of these other brokers that we have. Like for example, Alpaca, which IT is asking about, what are the trading fees of Alpaca? There are no fees with Alpaca, for example, which is why we use them, right? We use Alpaca because they don't have any trading fees. They're basically the Robinhood of algorithmic trading, right? So you use Robinhood, you trade without any fees. That's great. Alpaca is the exact same thing except made for APIs, right? Or made for bots, right? So that's why we use them, right? And actually, I guess that answers your second question, IT. Is there a no-fee broker that we can use? Yes, Alpaca is one of them, right? Yeah, cool. At least for stocks, right? There's other ones. For example, we're also talking to Tradier, which we want to integrate with at some point as well. These guys, for example, they have, I think it's like $10 a month or $20 a month that you pay them, and basically you get unlimited trades for free, right? You could trade options for free, unlimited. You could trade stocks for free, unlimited with them. Like they're like a really good API broker, for example, right? Yeah, Scott says I'll jump on Alpaca anytime. Yeah, Alpaca is great. Alpaca is like, it's one of those things that you wouldn't want to do if you're manually trading, right? Like their interface isn't the greatest. They're like whatever, right? But it's free trades and they're very good for bots, right? And that's all you really need. That's what you want when you're building a bot, right? When you're trading manually, you want something like a Robinhood. They have a great app and like things look really nice and fancy, right? That's great for like trading manually, right? But when you're trading through a bot, you want low fees, you want good APIs, you want good access to data. Like that's like what we're doing here. Right? So yeah, so Alpaca has no fees. Tradier is another one that we plan to add very soon, which has no fees on stocks. And they also have like a monthly subscription for options, which is amazing. Like if you're doing like options trading, $20 a month, right? That's awesome. Tradeovate is another really good one that's good for futures, right? So we're picking and choosing the brokers that you're going to make the most money with, right? That's my job. That's our job, is to make sure that you guys make money. So we're picking those brokers that have the lowest fees, that have the best APIs and all that. Right? Cool. Awesome. Any other questions, guys? All right, cool. Well, as I said, feel free to take down my email. If you want to ask me some questions, shoot me an email. I'm going to post that one more time here. Here's my email. Oh, whoops, that did not post properly. Posted a check mark. There's my email, rob@lumiwealth.com. If you want to contact me on Discord, there's a link to our Discord again. And then if you want to speak with someone at our company and you want to really ask more questions to someone live over the phone, here we're live. I'm answering your questions live. Maybe you want to speak with someone one-on-one and really dig into it. Feel free to do that. You can do that through our Calendly link if you so choose. All right. And again, reminder, we are doing our Thanksgiving special right now, our Black Friday deal, right? So if you want to save 25%, that's available for another week or so. Make sure you take advantage of that so you save yourself some money. It can literally save you a couple $1,000s. So make sure you take advantage of that. All right. Cool. All right. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for being here. I hope to see you guys in the class. We already have a few people signed up to our December class. Hopefully you guys sign up and we don't run out of spaces. Because we don't want a ton of people in our classes, but hopefully you guys sign up before that. And hopefully I see you guys in our next class in December. All right. Hope you have a good night, guys. Cheers.